to the Merrimack Parks and Recreations Committee meeting. Today is April 20th, 2022. It is 7:01 that we're starting this meeting, and I'd like to introduce everybody. My name is Tracy McGraw. I'm the chair.
Christine Lavoie, co-chair, member.
David Shaw, excuse me, member.
My name is Rick Greenier. I'm the MYA representative.
Maureen Hall, senior representative.
Over here.
Lon Woods, Town Council Rep.
Phil Prazinski, member.
And Matt Kasparius, Director of Parks and Recreation.
All right, thank you, everyone, and it appears we have a quorum for tonight. Let's take a look at the meeting minutes from last time in March. Has everyone had a chance to look? I know it's pretty lengthy. I got very wordy in my typing. I apologize.
Yeah, looks good.
Okay, do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion we accept.
Okay. Motion from Phil. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
7.
Thank you. So what is 7?
0.
Yeah, and we have, nobody else is here, so, okay. All right. First, we'll start out with some old business then.
Yep.
Parks and Recs, the ordinance from chapter 142. We were going to continue discussing that.
All right, so last time we talked about a lot of different things, and there seemed to be an appetite to change some things and not others, and so I've kind of went back and cleaned up what we said no to and kind of narrowed it down a little bit. So we'll relook at the 3 remaining changes that I had on the list from last month's meeting, and then we can look at and see if there's anything else we need to add or change. So, and if you don't have the handout, there is a copy of the ordinances
Does everyone
up
have it?
top front there, if you need it to look at the whole list. So the first one is 142, Section 5 on waste disposal. And we talked about adding the sentence, no person shall dispose of household trash in dumpsters located within restricted recreational areas. And again, at least we have some language if the police see somebody dumping a whole thing, or, it gives them kind of a leg to stand on, versus just, park trash. Thoughts, concerns on that? Okay.
I'd like to see that one in place as quickly as possible, especially given how much non-park trash
Yeah.
was in the dumpster.
Right. 142.7, use of vehicles. I had originally last time talked about this in a different section, but I think it's better in 142.7. So a new section F, which would be the speed limit in any restricted recreational area is 5 miles per hour. Again, realistically, it only really applies to Wasserman Park, but that doesn't mean it couldn't apply to parking lot at Bishop or, some of the bigger parks, parking lots. And the idea is just, again, it's the ability to enforce and having it posted to slow people down, especially at Wasserman. I cringe on almost a daily basis with the people that fly down that hill. We actually just added last week a new speed bump at the top of the hill, because as you come down the hill, there's this little crest and it drops like this much within about a 2-foot span. And so people would launch off it like a jump, especially the kids, the high school kids. And so we put a speed bump right above that, so they have to slow down for the bump first before so we'll see how that works out. But, so that was number 2. And then lastly, access limited, 142.12. Item A already talks about, the ATV facility off West Road shall be limited to Town Merrimack residents only. That's staying the same. But what I want to add here is that the ATV park is open, unlike everything else. The ATV park has reduced hours. It is Mondays through Saturdays from 10 to 7 only, and it is closed on Sundays. And there's actually a gate there that the police literally lock and unlock right now anyway. So it's just putting that in there, because obviously Section 1 of the ordinances says parks are open dawn to dusk, or 30 minutes before sunrise to sunset. So this is certainly an exception to that. That's not listed anywhere unless you happen to go look at the website.
So is there a better spot to put that? Only because 142.12 talks about temporary closure. Are we anticipating that those hours could change?
I don't know.
Okay.
But it sent, I had put it in there as, wait, is it 12? Hold on.
Was that the one you said, 142.12?
I did say, it's 13, sorry.
Oh,
I wrote down in my notes the wrong,
that would make more sense.
yeah,
Perfect.
13. Access limited, so it's, item A is that, that the ATV is residents only, and so we're just adding on to that sentence.
Sure.
And those are the, from the cleaned up discussion from last time, those are the three that I have. Was there anything else that people thought of since last time that, feel we should take another look at?
I know some of the discussion we had last time was on 142.9.
Okay.
We had talked about weapons, but also in the same thing with smoking. And I don't think we really got to anything that was within conformity.
Right, well, we seem to be, from my notes at least, we seem to be pretty split on that, on, eliminating, just saying, smoking's not allowed. So there didn't seem to be consensus one way or another,
Okay.
whether to do anything with that.
So we're just gonna go ahead and leave those in place since we don't have a consensus?
Yep.
Okay.
Any other,
Does anyone else have any other input?
okay then, so what I will do is these get submitted to the town council, for review. I think it actually has to go through 3 meetings officially, correct, on these?
I'm not sure that falls under the public hearing part.
Okay. I'm not sure, anyway, but it'll get submitted to the council, and they get the final say whether to change them or not. And so, stay tuned on that.
Excellent.
All right, so the next item on here was continued discussion about the skateboard park and where to put the skateboard park.
Yep, and I don't have any big presentations or any, amazing ideas at this point, but, again, just for benefit of people at home, we started talking about this, it's been since 2017, since this committee last discussed it. And we were on kind of a year-to-year lease with the school district for the land on Argura Drive, which belongs to them, and they technically have the right to kick us out at any point in time. I had heard right before the last meeting that their school buildings committee is starting to talk about that site and what they may want to do with that land. No votes have been taken, but we're since it's coming up again, we want to be prepared if and when that change does come. And again, they have not taken any votes. So, and again, to refresh people's memory, when we looked at this back in 2017, the first and obvious site seemed to be Watson Park, but there seemed to be no appetite from the town council at that point in time to put it there. At the time, the thought process was kind of the back corner, which now has the beach volleyball and ice skating rink on it anyway, so that doesn't work. I'm really not sure I see an appetite for people to put it right out in the middle of the field, which is the only other kind of flat spot, so I'm thinking that's a no-go. I could be wrong, but that's my thought. We had talked about last time at Bishop Field, there's kind of 2 flat stretches of ground. One is close to the road on the, kind of between the parking lot and the road. The other one is on the other side of Bishop Field. There's an area that is flat that's not big enough for a full field, but it would work for the skateboard park. The challenge with that particular piece is that MYA does use on occasion that back piece. On the front piece, the issue is it's directly across the street from 2 or 3 houses and noise concerns over there. So in the last couple of weeks, I had reached out to Rick and Christine, and we were starting to go through, there was a list put together, I don't even know how many years ago now, but it was kind of all the town-owned land in town that's, undeveloped. And, the list was originally put together when we were trying to find fields, but we went back through we're trying to go back through the list now of obviously, we don't need as much space for a skateboard park as we do for a baseball field or a soccer field or, I have not found much of anything in the sites that I've looked at, and I don't know if Rick or Christine have come up with anything that.
I
might
have
be-
not yet.
Okay.
I found a few that are intriguing, but they were the computer searches. I haven't physically gone to the site to look at them yet.
And that will be the next piece, is to kind of, once we get through the list, is to kind of make okay, here's the ones we want to go drive over and actually walk it and see if it's realistic or not. The other suggestion that came up to me, and I can't remember, did you make this suggestion, Tracy?
I'm
Can't
gonna
remember.
take a guess, and you're gonna say pool?
Yeah, that's
That
the
would be
one.
me,
Yeah,
yes.
that's what I thought. I hadn't written down who had given me the suggestion, but where at Wasserman Park is where the swimming pool used to be, which actually the pool is technically still there. They buried it when they didn't get the funding to fix it. So, but it's a relatively flat lawn right now. We use it. We have a small volleyball court that the camps use, but we could certainly find a place to put that elsewhere. Benefits of that site would certainly be, I have direct eyes on it because it's directly in front of my office. Not real close to any houses because it's a ways down the hill, a little ways down the hill. The flip side of that is it's not in the middle of the town. It's not really, you got to drive to get there. Now kids come in. There's, kids there for tennis every day. There's kids on the basketball courts every day. So they're driving there. So I don't know if that would be a deterrent or not. It's certainly not as ideal as something downtown would be. But it's a possibility. The other suggestion that was made to me was there's actually a parcel of land next to the post office that is owned by the town. My understanding is at one point in time there was a plan to potentially move the library there. I don't know where that stands, if it's still as a, someday drawing board or if it's still whatever. I do know there is the advertising sign on that parcel right there. And the town, my understanding is the town gets revenue from that sign. But whether it's big enough to do both, again, the challenge there might be you'd probably have to, unless the post office let you extend in from create access in from their parking lot, you might have to come in from McGog Bridge Road on the back side, which again, now you're back in the residential area. So I'm not sure that one's a starter yet, just because again, I don't know the status of, potential library plans there or not, but it's something else to at least keep in the back of our minds.
Matt, what would you use for parking in that particular area? Because isn't, I can't think of the name now, but I think it was a Pinenberg's gas station or mechanic station.
Yep.
There's that, and then you've got the post office. There's not a lot of room right there for parking. What would we
Right,
do?
well, you'd have to have a site big enough for its own parking lot, but whether it's kind of like, how you got the post office and to the right you've got Dunkin' Donuts and they kind of have a connected parking lot, so maybe it could be a in and over kind of thing from one side or the other too, maybe, or again, it might be have to come in from the back side. Again, I have not walked the site, so I don't know what that looks like on terrain-wise and what the neighbors might say and, whatever, but at least it's a little more centrally located, so it's something to at least keep in the back of our minds. And again, we're not gonna solve this tonight, it was just, that's kind of where we're at this point, and until we kind of continue going through the list, and then we can kind of walk sites and see what might be possible and go from there.
Right.
Do we have a time frame? I know that Pat Heinrich was very interested in making sure that we were discussing this.
No.
We don't have a time frame.
We don't have a time frame at this point. Again, school district hasn't said anything that it's a definite that, they're gonna kick us out anyway. They may decide in their own evaluation not to do anything, in which case they'll let the park stay, and in which case that if we kind of get that assurance, then it'll be worth, fixing that money now, fixing it now versus, hold on one second.
Maureen,
Well,
oh,
the school bought that red building right across the street from the high school. They haven't done a thing
Right.
They don't even cut the grass there anymore. It's ridiculous. And it's just empty. And
Yeah.
it's like, well, they rushed to get it. I know they had to get it, but do something with it maybe,
Yeah.
you know? It's got plenty of room and they've got plenty of parking, the whole parking lot, so. They're just letting it sit there.
I
Yeah.
have information on that, but I think I told you about it if you want to talk about it.
You can go ahead.
Okay. So, and please, I want to make this perfectly clear. I wanted Pat to know we are discussing this.
Right.
I want to make sure she understands that we are trying to figure things out. But, so the school owns that red building, and I think there's another building next to it. And what they want to do is they want to move the admin offices for the school, and that's my word, not theirs, but the admin offices to where the skate park is, because the skate park, there's actually utilities in the ground already there and ready to go. And so that's their plan. They also don't have a date. I did ask.
Yeah.
But that's their plan, and they do want to keep a skate park, so that they're not trying to just dump us. But their plan is to move all of that stuff over there. I don't know what their plan is for over here, but when she described to me the condition of the buildings that the school is using right now for admin, I wouldn't imagine the plan would take that much longer.
Yeah.
It sounds pretty bad.
And again, I mean, in an ideal world, we'd keep it exactly where it was and we wouldn't change it and we'd just invest in what's there, you know, invest in the property. But the town has obviously been reluctant to spend much money there to potentially have to rip it out 2 years from now, you know, who knows? But at some point, we're gonna get to a point where we're either gonna have to fix it, what's there, or move and start over somewhere else, you know, it's just, it's getting to the end of its lifespan. So we're gonna keep looking at it, and like I said, hopefully between now and next month, we'll be able to kind of narrow down the rest of those sites and have a chance to try to walk them and see if they're realistically feasible or not, and then we'll report back and go from there.
Do you have a list of sites that you guys have researched and that were possible options that you might need help walking, or is this something you guys are just gonna handle?
Working on, and I'll loop you in.
I think that we'd all be more than willing to help as,
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
you guys are narrowing things down. We'd all be willing to help out so you're not having to
I
drive all
don't think
over
it's gonna be
town.
very many sites, that's the
No.
problem. A lot of a lot of the stuff that's owned by the town already is owned because it's unbuildable lots, or it's a back lot, which means there's no public access because it's behind somebody else's property, or
Landlocked. and-
you know, it's landlocked, or it's
Wetlands.
wet, or it's, you know, so a lot of the stuff gets, you look at it and go, yep, nope. So I don't think it's gonna be a very big list by the time we get through looking at it, so,
Okay.
but we'll see.
Okay,
Thank you. Also.
whatever we can do to help with all of this.
Oh, yeah.
I still have a suggestion of Continental Boulevard, but we'll leave that one out for now.
There is land there, that's for sure.
There's a whole boulevard. Okay, so the next one on here is the Merrimack Dog Park. Chris, you want to go over that?
You want me to do that? Okay. All right, for the dog park, we have a balance of $763.59, always taking donations for poop bags. We don't need salt right now, fortunately, that's good. We are in spring, as everybody knows, so what we're gonna be doing is spring cleanup. I don't know if are we coordinating with an Earth Day thing this year?
No.
Okay, so, the dog park will try and hopefully, coordinate a bunch of volunteers to do some spring cleanup at the dog park, you know, the chewed up toys, the random poops that got missed over the winter and things like that, maybe some weeding, it's always gonna be needed at the dog park, and other than that, I think we're in decent shape. Tracy?
Matt, do you want to mention something about, because I've gotten a lot of questions over the last couple of days about the dog park, the parking lot, what's going on. Can you
It's
talk?
in my report.
Then we'll skip that for right now, okay?
We'll let Matt handle the parking issue.
All right, then,
Rick?
oh, I'm sorry, Rick.
It's okay. Quick question. You typically mulch in the spring, am I right?
We have been doing mulch in the spring, and that's something I'll have a conversation with Matt later on the next week or so, and probably discuss it in the next meeting, unless you have any word from department.
It's, they, Public Works should be giving us some of the chips,
Okay,
when they get to it.
yep.
What I was curious about is, will that come out of your existing balance? And is that enough?
Those don't. If we go and buy it from, Lane or anybody else, then that would, and we wouldn't have it, that usually costs us $1,000 when we buy them commercially.
Yeah,
It's a better product, but with what we have for funding, we're probably looking for the free stuff.
okay,
Right.
thank you.
So in the past, we used to get the children's playground mulch, which is the cleaner stuff, but low funds,
Okay.
so, okay, great. So we'll look forward to hearing from you, Matt,
Mhm.
from DPW.
Yep.
All right, well, Matt,
All
you're
right.
on. Director's report.
See, we're cruising right through here tonight. So we'll start with the beach. So the old docks have been removed at this point, and we had this brief moment where we're like, I wonder if anybody would want these. Maybe somebody could salvage them. And as soon as Public Works started pulling them out of the water, they just kind of fell apart. Nope, I guess not. Okay, that answers that question. So those have come out, and our new docks are scheduled to be delivered on Tuesday, May 3rd. So we'll be kind of fully done on the 3rd. Once that's done, we have one piece of the old docks that are still in the water, it was the center section of the H, which we're going to be using to make a new fishing dock down there outside of the swimming area. So I hopefully stop getting people from fishing inside the swimming area and finding fish hooks and all that fishing line and all that tangled in the ropes and all that. But yeah, it'll be I think it's a 48-foot section of dock that'll go straight out into the lake. So they'll get some access to the deeper water, and hopefully it'll be a good option for people. I've actually seen people on it already. It's kind of
So-
chained to the shoreline at the moment.
So for reference for everybody who's might be wanting to fish, it's gonna be to the left
To the left, correct.
of the,
To the left of the
current
public beach, correct.
Okay, great.
So that should get finalized after we get the docks in, and then that'll be kind of the last piece down there. And so that's it on the beach. Community garden. So, as you may or may not know, last fall the Agricultural Commission in town disbanded due to a lack of membership. They were down to 2 members, and they kind of went, "Why are we doing this?" And so they disbanded, and so they were responsible for managing the community garden at Wasserman, as well as the farmers market that was at Vault Storage. 3 weeks ago, over the winter, I was asked to put together a plan on us taking over the garden and management of the garden. So 3 weeks ago, the council officially asked us to do that. And on Friday, the 25th of March, we opened up registration. We're doing online registration, which is something they never had. The cost is $20 for a 10 by 10 foot plot for Merrimack residents, and $25 for a non-resident plot. And people can obviously buy more than one if they so inclined. To date, we have sold 49 plots already, which is up from 30 is what they had last year. So we're good shape for something brand new.
Matt, just curious, how many plots do you have to sell?
I can technically sell about 90. We're not going to. One of the things that they had done last year was it was kind of like, okay, they prepared the whole garden, staked the whole thing out for 90 plots, and then kind of said, okay, pick your plot wherever you want to be. But they had this kind of checkerboard pattern. It was like this one was full, then this one, and this one, but this one was empty, and this one was, so it was a lot of filled, empty, And so I told the people this year, I said, we're going to go in order based on when you register. You're not guaranteed this year of getting the spot you had last year. And I'm just going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And so like I said, we've filled up basically the front half of the garden, and I'm not going to build the back half, because why go through all the rototilling and staking and labor of trying to maintain the weeds if nobody's going to be back there. So we're going to build on. We're going to build. Public Works is going to start tilling the soil first or second week of May, and then we'll start staking things out. The initial design has 60 plots. So technically, I have 11 more spots right now in my initial grid that we're planning on building. If I suddenly get 20 more people that want to buy garden plots, then we'll obviously expand it further back. But like I said, I'm not going to build it if I don't need it. And so it'll keep everything kind of close and tight and easier to maintain. We're also doing 6-foot aisles instead of 3-foot aisles, which is what they had last year, which again, just gives people a little more room and shading onto other people's plots and all that other stuff. So yes, Lon.
Yeah, at the town council, there was discussion about certain groups having multiple lots. Are those counted in your original 45 or whatever you were
Yes.
talking about?
Yep.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's 26 people have 49 plots, so there's a lot of people that are doing twos. So yeah, it seems to be working pretty well. And I mean, the other nice thing about us doing it this way is like last year when they had this kind of checkerboard pattern, a lot of the people that had multiple plots, it was one here, because it was the way they used to do it was initial, assignment of plots, and that you could get one initially, and then a month later they'd open it up for whatever was left. So you realistically never had 2 plots next to each other. So now they can have, so say they have 4, they can have a box of 4, and they're all together, and they can, So I think it'll work out. And then next year we'll do, now that we have the new setup, now we'll say next year if you want the plot that you had, you can get, first right of refusal next year on that plot. But again, I'm not going to build extra unless I need to. So that's all going well. Like I said, we've had one. Did you have a question, Chris?
I did. So I know at the community garden, it's very popular amongst a small group. I love the expanded aisles, so I think that's great, because that's always been an issue, I thought,
Yep.
just by walking by. But there are some people who do participate in this who have disabilities. So are they able to reach out to you for a specific plot? Okay.
And so far, only one has. But one of the things, if you've been to the park today by chance, we actually created 2 parking spots right on the front right corner of the garden today. One of which is a ADA handicap accessible spot.
Perfect.
So that they don't necessarily have to walk from behind my office, which most people, that's not very far. But
I think they tend to park
On the lawn.
on those 2 lawn spots, and then there's a gap in the trees, they'll park in the trees.
yeah, I know. And if we took down the trees, then we could do a whole row of spots. But maybe that's something for another day. But
Another day, yeah. maybe.
those big pine trees that are kind of growing everywhere, but they need a trim at the minimum. So
Right.
that's another problem for another day.
Exactly.
Related to Agricultural Commission, they also use, as I said, they used to run the farmers market. We are not planning a farmers market at this point. Maybe it's something we'll take on next year. I had come up with a plan to do it, but we were feeling a little stretched on time, and having the time to do it and the staff to do it. And I mean, I'll talk about staffing in a minute, but it was a little bit too much for this year to add that to. So we said no to that, but it's something we'll talk about for next year. So moving on to the parking lots. So we'll talk about that now. So some changes coming. So the town is doing road work on Turkey Hill Road. And they basically tear out all the old pavement and kind of pulverize it, and it turns into what's called millings. And just as a reference, when we created the waterfront parking lot at Wasserman Park, that was millings too. It's basically decomposed or deconstructed asphalt, but they come in with the rollers and grind it all down and pack it all down so it looks like paving. You can stripe lines on it, as we did down by the waterfront. And so they had all this material. I literally got a call from the public works director Friday when I was out, and he said, "How would you like us to finish off those 2 lots?" Great, okay, and so it was kind of okay. He's like, okay, well, they'll be there Monday. Okay, sounds great, which I was out on Monday too. But so it packs down the surface. They run a steamroller over it. It creates a nice hard packed surface. So eventually, we'll hopefully also then stripe official parking spaces in there. It cuts down on the dust. Hopefully, we'll cut down on some of the erosion going down the hill to the tennis courts. We use some of the millings to make those parking spots at the garden. So we're fully utilizing that, and so it should be a nice addition once that all really. It'll take I think it's a couple of weeks where it really packs down, and but it's already a nice kind of hard pack. It'll make harder for them to do donuts in my parking lot, and all that good stuff. So obviously, like I said, allows us to stripe the spaces eventually, and then saves the town from having to just dispose of the stuff and probably paying to dispose of it when they can use it. So so kind of a win-win there.
Hold on 1 second, Matt.
Yes.
Not changing any of the pitch that they put in at the dog park parking lot?
I hope not.
So we can
I haven't
hopefully-
been over to look at it, but
You haven't either. Okay, I'll have to go over
I have
tomorrow.
not looked at that, but I'm sure that's something we can fix if need be.
Okay. Great.
Before you move on to the next thing, can you go ahead and address when it's really proper for people to be parking over there?
They had hoped to. You can park behind my office now, and it's fine. It's done. They were hoping to finish the lot by the dog park this afternoon, but when I left at 5, they weren't done yet. They were still working on it. So hopefully tomorrow it should be good. Right now, people can park by the camp office, but obviously you don't want to be in the way of dump trucks coming in and out, and steam rollers coming in and out, and just getting in their way. So hopefully it should be tomorrow, but we'll post it once it's ready.
People are already parking
I know.
over by the
It's
dog
not
park.
going to hurt anything. It's mostly not being in the way for the dump trucks when
Right.
they're
If they don't
moving in
move
and
it, they
out.
get towed. I mean,
Yeah. So
The only issue that might come into play is we do have a lot of people who come to the dog park fairly early in the mornings during the week as well.
yeah.
And so hopefully they will understand that they actually need to move their vehicles out of the way if the trucks come. So
Yeah.
you might be getting calls tomorrow.
We didn't today.
Well, they weren't parking there today. Now they're parking there thinking it's okay, and now they've
Right.
got the dog park network going.
Yeah. So we'll see. Try to fix things and make it nice and
I know.
Is that called a DPN? Dog Park Network?
Yes. Yes. We're gonna have Nick and his crew come and take care of the radio part of it.
There you go.
Yeah.
exactly.
All right. Last up is summer camp updates. So all 3 of our summer camps are now officially 100% sold out.
Woohoo!
When we met a month ago, one was 98% and one was like 88% and one was like 50%, and now all 3 of them are full. But fortunately, I've been getting we've had a push for applications recently, and so I got, I think, 3 counselors that we've offered jobs to last week. I had 3 new applications come in today, so hopefully, as long as these people accept the job, then I'll be able to, we're already starting to open up the wait list. We've already taken about a dozen people off the wait list, so
Wow, great.
hopefully we'll be able to do another 15 or 20 people off the wait list if these other people come through. So that's been positive. Our bigger issue at the moment is still the waterfront. I still need a waterfront director, which is, I don't have the exact pay in front of me, but it's it's like $17.39 to $23 an hour to
Wow.
be in charge, and it's Monday through Friday, so no nights and weekends. So, but beyond the waterfront director, I need lifeguards, or lifeguards and swim instructors. But lifeguards are the bigger challenge, or the more important challenge, I should say. I have 2 candidates who have applied that have to take their course, one of which is in a class this weekend, and so if they pass, then she'll get the job. But it's obviously contingent on her passing her certification course. And then the other one that we just interviewed today, so we'll waiting to find out when she's taking the class. So, so I need at least 2 more guards and realistically a waterfront director. So I can make do without. I have an assistant waterfront director. She's just a little young to
Direct.
to direct. So we'll make it work either way. But And if I get swim instructors, then I can do swim lessons, but without it, obviously, there'll be no lessons down there this year. But as I said last month, for both swim instructors and lifeguards, it's $15 an hour for those positions. And if anybody else goes out and gets the certification and then comes work for us, we will pay them for the certification course. It's about a $400 course. So we will reimburse them. They have to come work for the summer, and at the end of the summer, they get a check, you know. Yes, Rick?
Matt, does the director need a certification as well?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, unfortunately. So if Sam wants to go and become a lifeguard, you know.
Thank you.
Sign Rick up.
There you go. Yeah, Rick, you want to come be a...
I'm not certified.
You could go get the course. You could be. But it's 40 hours a week, Monday through Friday, so no nights, no weekends. You know, it's 8 to 4. It's a nice shift compared to, yes, you could make $15 an hour at Dunkin' Donuts, but you're going to work every night and every weekend, so, and probably not get 40 hours. So it's a nice bit if you're interested. So so anybody knows anybody looking, then please send them my way. The last other piece that I'm still missing is, since I know I won't have enough guards to cover weekends at this nicely rebuilt beach, it's critical that we get our park attendants for Wasserman Park. So I do need somebody at Saturdays and Sundays. Realistically, I need 2 people a day. Usually it's like 10 to 6, and I'll split that up. If somebody wants to work Saturday and Sunday, you know, 4 hours, and somebody else wants 4 hours, or one wants just Saturdays and one more Sunday, you know, I can make that work. But obviously, we don't want to have what happened in 2020 come back and bite us if I don't have anybody down there. So that's the other piece out there.
Right.
And that's all I got.
Okay. All right, organization reports. Maureen, Senior Citizens Club.
Oh, it's my turn.
It's your turn.
Yay.
You're first.
Well, the seniors are having an indoor yard sale on Saturday from 8 to 2. We'd like to have a lot of people come. We're trying to raise money as we've been closed down for so long. We also had sign-ups for next week. We're going to see Atlantic City Boys at Wyndham Castle, the Castleton in Wyndham. So that, I don't know if it's full yet. She didn't say, but it's $78 for the seniors in Merrimack. And it's a bus trip, it's a meal, and it's entertainment. And then Monday, we had sign-ups for Icons and Legends. We're going to Foster's Lobster Bake. That's in York, Maine. And it's on July 20th. And the meal is terrific. And my husband's been dying for this for 2 years. And it's $79. That includes the bus, the meal, the entertainment, and also the gratuity for the bus driver. So it's a cheap meal. Right now, lobsters are, $12.95 a pound? And this is $79 for clam chowder, a whole lobster, steamers, mussels, potatoes, onions, blueberry cake, rolls, butter, beverage, everything. You know, if you don't want a lobster, you can have chicken. Chicken of the sea is just as good. But, so, everybody welcome. So we hope to see some good faces. I have a lot of people that signed up. I have a whole page of seniors. Look at that. So
Nice.
they're all going to take care of me. I won't have to work too hard. I'm going to sit and go, you go there, you go there. So, and that's it for now.
All right,
Thank
thanks,
you.
Maureen. Rick, you got us for MYA?
Yes, thank you. Okay, so in season right now, we have baseball with about 300 children, softball with about 150, lacrosse with about 100, and soccer with 300. So let me see if I can do that quickly. About 850 total. Think about it, that's a lot of children. Which is great, obviously. Although Matt and I have talked about this for years, I just want to start publicly stating that we are in need of fields. Okay? I know most of us are aware of that, but maybe the public isn't. I have to thank DPW, as usual. They've done so much this spring, and I know they've got other areas like yours to deal with. So we're off to a good start as far as fields go. And let me tell you, it's a lot of work. A lot of people don't realize it. And the other people I want to thank that we forget about is Elbit Systems. They provide us 2 soccer fields and 2 softball fields. We'd really be stuck without that. And the Gatang Company on Continental, which also gives us a baseball field. So we're very fortunate to have these companies. And that's about it. More information can be found at the MerrimackYouthAssociation.com.
What was the
Thank
name
you.
of that company you said on Continental?
Gatang, it used to be Amtech, I believe.
Is that's
Geting.
the, okay, that's the one that's kind of off there
on the
all by
right-hand
itself,
side
and
when
then
you're
there's a
going
baseball
south.
field off to the right-hand
Yes.
side of it. Okay. I don't know how to spell it either, but I'll check on my way home. Okay,
I'm good, thank you.
thanks. All right. School board, Lori's not here tonight. Town council, Mr. Woods.
Yes, in my usual brief mode, the town council members remained the same after the election on the 12th. I think Parks and Rec should be encouraged. The council's been very supportive of Parks and Rec, and I will certainly encourage them to continue to be so.
Great. Thank you.
And our next meeting is Thursday, the 28th at 7.
And that's your assignments meeting, right?
I believe the reorganization of the council has been pushed forward
Further, okay,
for whatever reason.
okay.
Thank you.
And just in case everybody wants to know, Parks and Recs is actually going to be presenting at that town council meeting to let them know all these incredible activities and projects and everything that we've been working on, to let them know that we got this, but we still need their support.
And fields.
In fields, yeah.
And fields, yes, I will. I will
Was
make
it
sure.
428?
Yeah, next Thursday, 4/28. Any updates on who might be our school rep? Has anyone heard anything?
It's still officially Lori. Shannon was the
No,
alternate.
for the high school.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm
that-
sorry,
no.
student rep. Okay, do we have anyone in the works? Okay. Okay. All right, so our next meeting date is gonna be May 18th, and then the one following that is gonna be June 15th. And does anyone else have any questions, any concerns, any statements? No complaints allowed, but everything else is good. Especially from you. All right, do we have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion.
Okay, Rick?
Go ahead. Leo, since for a second. Right.
So who's second? Second. Okay, thanks,
you
Phil.
Phil? I said
All right.
Leo. Sorry.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, and meeting is adjourned at 7:43.
There you go.